Hey guys, welcome to the Life on Purpose podcast. It's Ella and Ella from Grow with the Flow. Here we explore all things personal growth and self-discovery.
We hope to inspire you, empower you to explore your growth, and to remind you that you're never alone. So let's get right into it. Let's grow.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're so happy that you're here and welcome to our 8th episode.
Yay!
Very, very exciting.
We want to start off by pulling a card like we have been the last few weeks from our Flower of Life deck. Just for a little inspiration for the day or a message if you need to hear anything. It's just been a nice way to start the day for us. I haven't looked at the card yet. Aw, you are eternal. It says, when your stream of consciousness asks to be more, know more, to become more, you created your magnificent physical body to be an instrument of physical creation. You are part of the universe, and the universe is a part of you. You are made of stars, planets, and all that is within and without the universe. The playing field of life is unlimited and loving. You are a loving, unlimited, and wondrous part of creation. The events and experiences of your life will grow in meaning as your awareness expands. This expansion will alter your perception of the world. Embrace this clear, confident, inspiring outlook, and your experience of the world will change.
Ooh, it's like tying right into what we're going to talk about today.
I know.
I love that very much.
I love that too. I think it's just a reminder when you're like bogged down on the micro of your life to just like kind of take the magnifying glass away and look at it as a whole, like look at it as a macro, like we're these little tiny little things
just bopping around
flying through space. Like
it's so true,
you know, like if you're worried about something that you know is insignificant in the long run, it's just a reminder to look at the big picture.
I think it's a message that we all need to hear from time to time. Ella and I definitely that's a perfect message for us to hear today, because we're just like anyone else, right? It's so easy to get caught up in the details of your life right now, and it's, you know, things come up. My mom always used to say, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't give it more than 5 minutes of your time. And obviously it's so much easier to say that than to practice it in the moment, because it's so easy for something to consume our minds, especially when, you know, you need one decision in order to move on to the next. But I love that reminder, because it's so true. Like, if you were to die tomorrow,
would that have mattered?
What is it on the grand, like in the bigger picture?
I know, and it's so, like Ella always says this, like we're on this journey with you, and it's recently it's been such a big reminder of like trying to take our own advice and like remember what we preach, and it's so much easier to be like, you know, everything's great and whatever, but when you have to like kind of do that yourself, you remember that it's not
as easy.
So we get it.
We're very lucky, I think, too, that there's two of us. So I mean, we both fall together at the same times, and we'll just like we'll look at each other and be like, this is hard, but it's really nice. And I think that's why we always preach about support and community, to have somebody you can talk things through. Mm-hmm. That's like, I would say sometimes the biggest piece that's missing, I think, for a lot of people, is knowing that what you're going through is okay, and you're not alone, and you know that there's somebody out there that you can relate with probably more than you think you can. Yeah. And it just helps. It's not going to like take the problems away or make the issues easier to handle, but it's just really nice to be able to talk that through with somebody. So
yeah, totally.
Very grateful that we have that.
Yeah. Well, it kind of brings us to like going through this kind of journey and stuff, and having these reflections has brought us to wanting to talk about the biggest changes in our lives since we started investing in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And kind of like the tools and different things that have made the journey easier from once we started to invest in ourselves.
Yeah. So I'd say, like, if someone were to ask me what's like my biggest takeaway, or what was the biggest, let's say if we focused on like the benefits, I would have to say the increased self-awareness. And I know you've heard us say self-awareness quite a bit, but it's truly about knowing who you are. And then when you know who you are, you're able to just make more aligned decisions. It's just like a ripple effect, right? So I think the self-awareness component of self-discovery has been the biggest shift for me, because in those small, I mean, they may seem small moments of like really getting to know myself, I've been able to make every decision in my life has gone back to that. It's like how we talk about your values and your beliefs and your vision and your mission. Like, that's kind of your blueprint, right? So understanding and being self-aware of your blueprint affects and changes every aspect of your life. Like, every aspect of your life starts to reflect that. So I think for me, self-awareness was huge.
Yeah, I totally agree. And for me also, self-awareness, just because I used to get so anxious. Like, I lived with so much anxiety and I was constantly making decisions that weren't serving me. And when I started to be like, if I had issues with like relationships or friendships, or things weren't going my way, or like my days were just passing me by where I didn't feel good, it started to be like that self-awareness of like, you're the common denominator here. How can I like go inward and see how I'm creating this? That like snap of the fingers click of like realizing that was the biggest change for me, where I was like, okay, well, maybe these limiting beliefs are making me make these decisions, or this conditioning I had as a child is making me this come up again in friendships over and over again, or those kinds of things where you're starting to understand how you're contributing to your reality. Yeah. You're constantly creating your reality, right? So I totally agree with that one.
I love that word, the common denominator, because I think there comes a point in your own journey where you have to come to terms with taking responsibility and ownership for your growth. Totally. To an extent, like, we're not disregarding, things happen, like bad things happen, and there's lots of things that are out of our control, but there's so much that is in our control, which is where self-awareness comes into play. And the ripple effect, or like the changes that come from being more self-aware, are never ending. Yeah. Like Ella said, it's like you come back like, okay, if it's my relationships, or if it's the way I'm feeling, like, what can I do? How much further back can I peel myself back and peel back through all of, your current beliefs and your current values. And maybe that's where you start to reframe. But yeah, definitely self-awareness.
And then I'd say another one for me was just building and having stronger relationships. So it's obviously like, as human beings, something we value is connection and belonging, and just having people to lean on and people that love you. And there's just resistance, I think, if you're not self-aware or not investing in yourself, because you're just kind of going about just being like, this could work or that could work, or this person seems nice, or everyone's friends with this person. I think that's like also conditioning when you're a kid, where you just want to fit in and like just do what everyone else is doing to be popular or things like that. And it's like, you don't have to have like 1 million friends. If you have like 3 really great friends, that could be such an like nurturing thing for you. Like, it doesn't have to be the way that everything else is. Or especially when social media comes around and you're comparing yourself and likes and all this other kind of stuff. But once you like stop and invest in yourself and look inward and look at what is important to you, is I think what I'm trying to say, then you're able to build stronger relationships, because then you see that values with other people are more aligned and overlining. Or like that they're not, and you want to stay away from that kind of energy leaking relationships. Or being the most popular person isn't the best thing in the entire world. Like maybe just having those like 3 really close friendships is what is nurturing to you in your life.
Yeah, I love that. It definitely goes hand in hand, right? Like once you become more self-aware and you've worked internally on yourself, it reflects externally onto your relationships. So like you said, your existing relationships, you learn maybe how to flow with more ease, like both parts of the relationship, because you're more self-aware, you're able to see people on the level that you've met yourself. So maybe you empathize with people a little bit more. And exactly that, you end up attracting relationships with similar values or similar missions or visions for life. And I know it's very true in my life. The older I get, it's very true. It's very much a high school thing, I feel like, or when you're younger, you just want to be friends with everyone, and that's amazing, but it's just not sustainable. Like you would just imagine carrying that your whole life. To have quality over quantity, I think, is the direction my mindset has shifted.
Yeah.
Like I can connect with anybody. I think you know that about me. Like I have spent many years in the hospitality industry, so I've been in positions where I get to meet all different types of people. But in order to really create those deep soul connections that I personally gravitate towards at this point in my life, I couldn't have done that without the introspect work that I've done up until this point. So relationships is definitely something that has changed big time over the years.
It's also when you have that self-awareness and have done that work, you can communicate to the other person what you need. Like before
in like a healthy way.
Yeah, before I did this, it was always, I felt like I was blaming or like I was disappointed with the other parties, like what they're bringing to, you know what I mean? Like
right.
When now I can be like, first of all, you have your boundaries and your expectations set, and you know that like nobody's going to fix you, nobody's going to make you feel better. You know, like you have to bring something for yourself to the table. And then being able to say like, if there is a conflict, saying it to the other person. That was so hard for me. And if it's not going to work, it's not going to work, and let it go. But if anything, that's made my relationships with people that I wanted in my life a lot stronger.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's it, like the communication. So whether it's showing you what relationships are in alignment with the version of you that you're in right now, if it's going to make them stronger, or if, like Ella said, it's just time to let go. And I think with the self-awareness and being on the self-discovery journey, you can make those decisions more consciously and with more flow, rather than having so much resistance and trying to hold on to things for the sake of holding on to things. Like you're able to recognize why or why not something may or may not be serving you. I think that's like the biggest takeaway from relationships. And then naturally, obviously, working on self-discovery and personal development and really digging deep is just naturally attracting more joy. Because now you're in a state where you're aware of what your values are. You're aware of what it is that you want out of your life. You've got some bigger picture. Joy just kind of follows you around, right? Because now your mission isn't, you're not chasing the I'll be happy when. You're living in the present. You're living intentionally. You're living a more aligned life because you're making decisions with your foundation in mind. So we talk about foundation quite often here at Grow the Flow. And that's, that's the element of self-discovery where it's really digging deep and peeling back and like getting clear. Once you have that, it just becomes so much easier to go about your day. I guess you're doing things organically, but with what you're actually doing is choosing things more intentionally, which in return brings you more flow and more ease. At least it does for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you understand what it is you want out of life and what you like and what you don't like, you're consciously choosing those things that you like. Like joy
is a byproduct of doing things you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like joy is so underrated because people are maybe just like going through the motions of life, or they're setting goals for themselves that are conditioning from external things. And people forget to prioritize joy. I feel like it's such an underrated thing.
Right.
Like,
and it doesn't have to be anything huge. It doesn't have to be like, I will feel joy when I take 3 weeks in Italy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's going to be filled with so much joy. But right in this moment, every single day, where's a little piece of joy?
Yeah. Just finding that happiness in your everyday and just feeling content. Like, it's so underrated, I feel like.
And
100%
when you hear it,
you're just like, yeah, of course. But it's like, are you feeling joy every day? Are you looking for that outlet or that thing that you enjoy, or that person that you love talking to? I know it can just, you get bogged down with your everyday tasks and your goals and things that you need, quote unquote, need to be doing or should be doing. But just slowing down and being like, I'm going to choose one thing every single day that brings me joy.
I love that. And it's so true, because we're not here to preach positivity only.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying here. But like Ella said, if you can actively schedule that into your day the same way you would with all the things you quote unquote have to do, you're making that conscious decision. When you're in self-discovery and you're in personal growth and you're going on this journey, you're actively choosing these things. So knowing that that's something you need to schedule into your day. It's not just going to slap you on the face every morning like, be happy, or, feel this way. You got to know what those things are in your life. And if you don't know what they are, that's totally fine. I learn new things about myself every single day, but when you start to go down this path and like this journey.
And there's an ebb and flow. Like, I know it might sound contradicting, like, if you're self-aware, you'll just naturally be more joyful. But there are times when you do have to seek it out. It's
100%.
It's up to you. Like, if today you're waking up with more things on your to-do list or more obstacles than usual, then make the conscious decision to work on that and be like, I need to take 5 minutes out of my day to go outside and just let the sun shine on my face. Something as simple as that. That's taking care of yourself. And then the other times when you are in that flow and it comes naturally, then maybe not.
Yeah.
But just making sure that.
I think when we say that, we naturally attract more joy, we say naturally, but we're still working on it. It's just becoming an easier thing to implement into our day-to-day because we're made aware of it, if that makes sense.
And we understand what it is. That brings us joy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Ella and I love our cup of coffee. That is a huge piece of joy to my day. Like, I love that. It doesn't have to be anything, massive.
And celebrate that. Like, if you're like, yeah, I love coffee and I drink one every day, so what? Slow down and be like, this is making me happy. It could just be that difference of like showing gratitude for the things that you already have or already doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's pretty much, if I were to sit down and somebody asked me, what are the 3 biggest takeaways that have happened in your life since you started your self-discovery journey? It'd be those 3. And they all kind of go hand in hand. And they're going to look different for everybody. Again, we're sharing our experiences and people that we've worked with and our community's experiences, but yours could be different. So take everything we're sharing with you with, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. We always want you to remember that you are your own person. So make decisions and live life according to what makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. That's our biggest mission here.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree, obviously. So we just want to end the episode with just letting you know that we do have episodes every single Wednesday, and we always talk about self-discovery and personal growth and our own journeys. If there's anything that you guys want us to cover, we love hearing from you. You can DM us on Instagram at GWTF.club. And we also have a newsletter that we send out every single Monday with tips and tools and just links and different things. And if you want to come over and be part of our community, we'd love if you subscribed. You could find a link as well on our Instagram. And yeah, I think that wraps everything up for this episode.
Definitely.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. See you next